If you've heard Given Up by Linkin Park, you probably know the infamous 17-second scream. When I first heard it, I thought, how is that even possible? Does Chester just have superhuman lungs? But the surprising thing is that the 17 seconds isn't actually the hardest part. If you can sing a note for 17 seconds, you already have the breath capacity to do it. The real challenge is adding distortion without wasting all of your air. So let me show you how to approach it. So step number 1, stop wasting your air. So in order to demonstrate something, I want you to try taking a breath and doing a long exhale like this. And you'll probably run out of air pretty quickly. That's because you're essentially throwing your air away. And a lot of people accidentally build their scream on top of that same breathy foundation. What I want you to do instead is I want you to try singing a long note like this. And I want you to try and make it bright, nasal, and brash. And I want you to try holding that for 17 seconds. And I'm not going to put on a timer, but you can get the sense. You can hold it out for much longer. Granted, that wasn't exactly 17 seconds, but you get the point. You'd probably find that much easier than doing the exhale. So that is our foundation, not the breath, but the clean singing. And we're going to start with an efficient clean singing note and then adding distortion onto that without turning it into a giant exhale. That's how you hold it out longer. Okay, so now step 2, we want you to mimic the notes specifically for Given Up. Now, let's take the actual scream from Given Up, and then he actually hits 2 notes. And so before adding any distortion, you want to learn those 2 underlying notes. And let me kind of pull this up. Let's see, what was that? Let me just listen. Okay, so you want to sing those notes. Okay, so now the thing is, when you're singing these notes, you want to keep them strong and in your face. You don't want them to be like, and the reason why is because if you use a very breathy note as the foundation, then that will result in a breathy final version of the scream. So that's why you want a very strong. And once you can comfortably sustain those notes, then you're ready to add the grit to that. So step 3, that brings us to step 3, adding the grit, adding the distortion. So for this approach, we're looking for a compressed, sputtery distortion. And this happens when you bring your vocal cords together and you get them to do that. And when you do that with your voice, it sounds like this. So one thing that you can do to start experimenting with this is you can raise the back of your tongue while singing the note. And so you can start with that clean note and then gradually raise the back of that tongue to sort of tighten up your throat. And you want to think about distortion like a knob, where you don't immediately need to jump to 100%. You can start with just a little bit. And then you can gradually increase it by raising the back of your tongue higher and higher. Until you get that sound that you're looking for. And so the important thing is that you can still hear and feel that singing note underneath the distortion. And then after that, then you can kind of hold that sound and then bring it down to the lower down. If you feel like you can't hold it for 17 seconds, then that means that there's probably something fundamentally wrong with how you're doing it. Honestly, a lot of students can do this like pretty quickly and they surprise themselves and they're just like, oh wow, I didn't realize I can do it for 17 seconds. So I wouldn't say that this is something you have to increase your lung capacity for over time. This is just, if you do it right, you should be able to hold it for 17 seconds. So if not, you're doing something wrong. And with that being said, everybody's voice is different. There is no one size fits all approach that works for everybody.
So keep trying things. You got this. I struggled for a very, 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 very long time before I figured out any of this stuff. And if I could do it, you could absolutely do it too.
If you want to go much deeper into learning how to scream, what I'll do is I'll leave a link in the description that goes much deeper into learning how to scream. And it'll also show you how to schedule a free consultation with either me or a member of my team to see whether or not coaching makes sense for you. So scroll down, click the link in the description if any of that interests you, and hope you got a lot out of this and have fun screaming. All right, peace.